We've traversed the tombs of Naxxramas. We've climbed every cliff on Black Rock. Now the world cries out for heroes. As a new evil rises, there will be danger. There will be doom. There will be ancient temples filled with relics, treasures, and traps. Who will answer the call?
Explorers lead, and we are in need of explorers. Adventure we seek, cross land and sea. Born to come and join us.
Yes!
So Kolento, he is probably, him and Stansifka are probably the people I'm most worried about. They're the most unpredictable when it comes to tournaments. Sometimes they'll bring three like aggro decks with like Shaman and Zoo and all that. Or I don't know, Stansifka brings like the weirdest control decks. Last time he brought like double BGH, double Brawl Warrior with like no late game, and it didn't even beat aggro. It was so strange. So I don't really know what to put them on. I usually just try to pick good enough decks to where a consistent deck will beat them. But they're probably the ones I'm more concerned about because I don't feel as comfortable playing against their decks most of the time, especially Stansifka. He brings the weirdest things. Surrender, I know he's a very good player. Apparently he had like the most BlizzCon points, so I'm kind of scared of him. But we'll see. I don't really know what decks he plays. I don't know what the Korean meta is like. Korean, yes. Cypher, he usually just brings solid decks, so hopefully my solid decks line up well against his solid decks and things work out. The two Chinese players, I have absolutely no idea who they are. I just put them on having Zoo, so that's, I don't know. It's hard to research them. Every time you look up something, it's all in Chinese. Yeah, I think it's kind of strange to do groups with 8 players and then break it down into 6 players. I guess it's fine. It's just another format. It's basically like groups into double elimination. Not even double elimination. It's not double elimination. I wish it was double elimination in the bracket phase. But yeah, it's kind of weird to do groups and then have only one person not advance out of groups. Usually it's just GSL style groups and 2 people advance. I definitely have the possibility to win the entire tournament. I'm not sure if it'll happen, but it's definitely possible. 3-0, easy.
Welcome back, everybody, to the StarLadder Grand Finals. It's time for our second semifinal featuring a dog who you saw on screen talking about, you know, some things that...
I'm just...
You're right, Nimsh?
The bagpipe guy is dropping the beat, you know? Just, you have to feel it.
Oh, yeah.
It goes through you.
Yeah, because the first thing listening to the bagpipes is definitely the beat that's being dropped. As well as that outrageous costume, which I probably should get a pair for myself. Anyways, guys, we're getting ready for our semifinal number 2, which is Lanshengzhe versus Dog. You saw an interview with Dog where he was able to share some of his thoughts on some of the region as well as his own play. So getting to know Dog a little bit better is something that the West has done for a long time, considering that he is a well-known streamer and player on Team Liquid. However, the other player comes more as a mystery to the West, although if you look about him in China, you also won't find too much about him, because the Chinese doesn't really... they're really more about a lot of the popular streamers as well. So Lanshengzhe, to make a comparison, Lanshengzhe is kind of like...
Mysterious Challenger.
Well, I mean... Not necessarily the analogy I was going for, but I know what you mean. Like he's kind of like a person that you don't really expect at all. So he is a mysterious challenger. But I would make a comparison to someone like Jab. To be honest, he does stream. Lanshengzhe. He does stream. He does come to tournaments, but he plays kind of stuff that people are like, it's cool, but I care more about like a Kolento or like a Dog, and I'm more excited for it. And player like Lanshengzhe actually gets ignored. I'm sorry. This guy is wearing a red cape and playing bagpipes in front of an audience of 20 people.
He's a bard, Froden. Just have some respect for the bard profession. It's not easy, especially nowadays. Like, not many people want to listen to a random bard in a random tavern instead of Michael Jackson.
Truest thing you've said all day, Nip.
But to follow up on the Lanshengzhe, maybe people didn't know about him coming into this tournament, but I think he's already building a legacy for himself. He is a really cool guy playing Hearthstone with us. You can relate to his decks. He has a really cool finish when he's finishing games as well. He was having those kind of RNG finishes, but hitting them when playing versus other players. And I talked to him a bit. He's really cheerful, really friendly, and he played Magic, apparently, for many, many years before. So he respects the European players. He feels like European players are really strong, like European NNA players overall, and he wants to prove himself by defeating them. He's already in the top 4. If he wins versus Dog, he will be in the final.
Nymph, I'm gonna have to need you to repeat that entire sequence again because I'm too busy listening to this dank music. This fire tunes.
We are being invaded by Force and Chat, or at least...
Yeah, Pleb List is alive and well.
I'm sure this is going to end up with Force and Channels at some point. But we are ready to go into game number 1. I haven't even seen the bans. Have you noticed them?
Oh, we're in game, yes.
Yeah, that's game, Froden. That's game. Shaman versus Priest.
This matchup is a matchup that is going to be pretty difficult for Dog to overcome without a 1-drop. The key to this matchup is complete board control from the get-go for Priest. Meanwhile, the fact that Shaman can start off with 2 1-drops is excellent. Dog is going to have to play the Shrinkmeister on curve here. And Shawnsley gets a very, very powerful hero power with the Steady Shot.
Yeah.
Which, against Priest, Steady Shot is just better than Druid in every capacity.
There is also one important fact that I want to mention. Dog is actually playing a Dragon Priest. Do you see any dragons there, Frodo?
No, but again, I don't think the dragons matter nearly as much as just having stuff.
Well, stuff like Wyrmr's Agent is excellent if you can play it as a 2/4 taunt.
Sure, but if you get Wyrmr's Agent, again, he doesn't even have a dragon to activate it. Now, one card that might be a hidden sleeper X Factor is Harrison Jones. If your opponent drops the Doomhammer, a lot of times what you're doing from turns 1 to 4 is you're trying to get as much damage as you can on board, and then turn 5 onwards is all about the burn finishers. And so what you do is you sometimes even willingly give your board away, so that way your Doomhammer can start hitting them from like 18, and then you can just threaten to end the game. And then all of a sudden, because you invested so much into a Doomhammer finish, maybe it doesn't work out into your favor. So there are options, but it's starting to get a little bit tricky for Dog because, you know, Lanshengzhe's got the Hunter hero power, which is going to match the Priest hero power, which is normally a catch-up mechanism if Shaman is stuck just using totems.
Yeah, and to add to that, even if you're playing versus Control Priest with Justic or Trueheart, sometimes this deck has so much burst with Doomhammer and Rockbiter that you don't even care about Harrison. You just play Doomhammer with the Rockbiter and deal enough damage in one turn.
Another key is to heal yourself. A lot of times you might feel like you want to heal a minion to make sure that you get a good trade. Like, for example, you might really feel tempted to like heal the Northshire Cleric, so that way the Cleric draws a card and it can kill off another 2/1. But a lot of times you need to heal yourself because this matchup will be determined by a Crackle for the exact damage or like the Lava Burst off the top. So be very cautious with your health pool. As Dog knows, you know, he needs to definitely consider plays that'll make sure that he can heal himself.
Absolutely. So far, Lanshengzhe showed when he was playing the Shaman that he's trying to conserve his board, keep the minions alive, and kill opposing minions. But in this matchup, he recognizes that he has to deal as much damage as possible, as fast as possible.
Dog has a board clear. You know, Lanshengzhe did play around the Holy Nova, but you know, this is not the exact kind of clear that he was expecting. However, he still has a lot of damage. You know, again, the hero power from the Hunter shuts down the Priest, so he's working with 9 HP at this point.
Oh.
That's a really big deal.
That is actually a big deal because that's 4 damage to face for Dog, and if he decides to play Harrison, he will not be able to heal, so he is essentially dead next. Oh, he's not dead because
he's got Harrison Jones, and then you can't actually kill him because you only have 4 mana. So
yeah,
if he picks up a taunt and he can keep healing, I mean, Dog might be able to turn this around. Like, the Harrison Jones is the last chance for Dog here, and Lanshengzhe needs to pick up back-to-back burn.
Does he? If there is a taunt?
Yes, he needs to pick up burn right here, and that's the key.
That's the burn.
That's the key. That's the victory right here. Lava Shock ends up ending the game right here. Dog knows.
Wow.
Okay, all right, you got me. But this is a tough matchup to begin with, precisely because of one thing, is that Dog missed a turn 1 play.
That's true. He was not able to fight back against those small minions. Lanshengzhe keeping a poker face. He is in the zone. That was so fast, Froden. That was so fast.
I mean, that's what the aggro shaman does. It excels at using the first 4 turns as setup, so that way it can carry the rest of the turns 5 onward with burn to finish the game. You know, we saw Harrison Jones and the Doomhammer, but let's say Dog had a pool of 4 more health because of a 1-drop. He wouldn't take as much damage from Leper Gnomes and Abusive Sergeants. All of a sudden, he's taunting and healing every turn and offsetting it. And then there's a very real clock that the Shaman's on because he's taking, like, increasing damage of 12 to 14 because the board gets stacked. And then the Priest all of a sudden turns it around. So Dog, he's just going to move past that one. But Lanshengzhe has to feel really confident because that was a matchup that he was supposed to win, and he got a very crucial Game 1 victory.
Yeah, exactly right. And right now he landed in a bad matchup because he will be playing with his Zoo into the Demon Handlock from Dog.
And that's such a good call because that Shaman deck is really underestimated. A lot of people still feel like it's not a tournament-worthy deck, but every time you see it and it wins, everyone's like, why isn't everyone playing this deck?
Exactly right.
But, you don't always get the most consistent openings, but it's been consistent for Shangzi so far, and that's all he needs. Just 2 more wins until a grand finals date with Cypher.
That might also be a hard deck to play. A lot of people say aggro is easy, but you have only a certain amount of turns, and after that time you just lose. So you have to play perfectly every time.
Yeah, if anything, playing against aggro sometimes feels easier. I know this is going to be a controversial statement. I was like, come on, Frodan.
I do agree.
But playing against aggro is very simple. Just don't die. So just remove and hope he doesn't have it. Remove and hope he doesn't have it. Play a taunt. But aggro is like, if I miss this damage, am I costing myself the game? And there's a lot of times where Lanshengzhe chose to trade against a cleric instead of go for face.
He
chose to withhold the Argent Horse Rider.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff is things that you have to be considering. It's very subtle, and in the end, it's less overall decisions than a control game, which is a fact. But at the same time, there are small nuances that make the game harder for some players.
I agree. But back to the Warlock versus Warlock. The Zoo opening is okay for now. Juggler and a 2-1 doing some early damage. But then on Dog's side, he has the Imp Gang Boss, and he has the Twilight Drake as well.
So there's 2 ways that this can go. The Direwolf Alpha can completely shut this down with really good juggles. With juggles missing it, and then the Knife Juggler goes into the 2-4, and then all of a sudden everything's okay. Or, you juggle into the 2-4, leave a 1-1, and then kind of a disaster happens afterwards because then it trades onto the board much better. Because then there's 2 1-1s, and then all of a sudden you don't know if you lose your Direwolf Alpha as well.
You might still need to gamble, though. If you play Nerubian Egg, what happens? You can hit the 2-4.
Yeah.
Then you will have to kill the 1-1. Well, not necessarily. I mean, maybe Nerubian Egg is not terrible here.
Well, I mean,
you do expect Imgankos to attack into your Juggler. So if you play Nerubian Egg, if Nerubian Egg actually hits, if you don't hit the Gang Boss, you're fine. So I think I prefer that to Direwolf Alpha.
Yikes.
Yep,
that's not what he's looking for. So is the 3-2 just going to kill a 1-1 then? Missed that damage. That's too bad.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, Dark Peddler, given a lot of options for Dog to just ping with 1 damage. Whether it's a Mortal Coil, an Elven Archer, a Stone-Toe Spore. Even a card like Goldshire Footman wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Almost any 1-drop here would be welcome.
Maybe not those.
Well, Soulfire has its applications as well, but
you probably don't take Soulfire because your hand is top heavy. So this is not something you're going to cast. Courser doesn't do much versus Zoo. And Dragonhawk, you probably take Courser for the stats. As it's a 1-2.
Yeah, it's a 1-2, so it helps pick apart a little bit of the board. Yeah, now that I evaluate the hand with the Doomguard in it, like, what is Soulfire really going to accomplish? Not really much. This is the Demon Handlock, by the way, from Dog. This is something that is, again, a very interesting choice of flavor compared to another deck like the Reno Warlock that people have been bringing.
Most of the players decided to bring the Reno Warlock. I think Dog is the only player who brought the Warlock control handlock kind of deck.
Yep. And against Zeus specifically, it feels a little bit more consistent because you have 2 Molten Giants that you can get as the game goes on to. You have more Taunt Givers as you get whittled down, so you can pick better trades. You have more access to consistent AoE, 2 Hellfires.
Better turn 4 as well, because you have double Twilight Drake and Void Callers.
Exactly. 2 anti-kill bots. The list goes on. However, you do lack the ever enigmatic and elusive Reno Jackson, which is some of the sexiest play you could have in Hearthstone, where it's like you get him, you tap, it's a 1 health, and then you Reno Jackson.
Well, you do have access to Implosion for 4 into Mal'Ganis, which is also a sexy play.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Speaking of Implosion, good thing Dog was able to kill off the Knife Juggler there. The other play was to go for a Egg and Direwolf Alpha, but it doesn't feel like I don't know if you want to play into cards like Hellfire and whatnot. So it's kind of hard to evaluate based off what your opponent can and can't do.
That's one thing. Like, you don't want to play into Hellfire that much. The second thing is when you have Implosion on board and Direwolf Alpha in your hand, those imps will have 2 attack.
It's true. You get to get really good trades as well. So you want to play Implosion before the Direwolf Alpha. And that will mean that this Twilight Drake dies. But in a way, Twilight Drake served as AoE. It kind of did 4 damage to everything. Not too bad. And that is why a lot of times, if you have to evaluate playing a spell versus playing a minion onto the board against an aggressive deck like this, several times, more cases than not, playing the minion's okay if you have enough health, because if it tacks into all these minions, then it's kind of like serving as if it was AoE.
Yeah.
And then you get to keep the AoE card.
Absolutely. That's why most of the time you want the minion to be played first.
Twilight Drake Cat was a 4/7 taunt. Pretty sick.
It served its purpose, but from Lanshengzhe perspective, it was fine as well. You were able to clear the board, and you still have a good board on your own.
Man.
Mal'Ganis.
All of his high curve. I think the only card he might be missing.
Void Caller. From the high curve?
Yeah, from the high curve is Drax. Oh, he has Drax.
Oh
my gosh, he has everything.
He has everything. He's just missing those Void Callers. And this turn also doesn't look great. I mean, do you tap into something, or do you just slam Healbot?
Oh man, is he really thinking about Soulfire? I was thinking about slamming Healbot, taking it slow, really hoping that your high curve can save you.
The thing with the Soulfire is that you have so many good cards that you don't really care what you discard. Well, you want to keep Thorison.
Okay,
okay, that's probably fine for him, at least for now.
Interesting. And he chose to tap after the Soulfire, so he'd rather keep whatever card he's about to tap into, because if it's a Molten Giant or a Taunt Giver or something like extremely valuable to swing the board,
Void
like
Caller.
Hellfire in this case.
Or even Void Caller.
Yeah, sure. Shangzi gonna tap, and the Dark Peddler can pick up a pretty big card for finishing potential. That's not the finisher card, but it definitely helps trade up.
Yeah, that's some damage actually. So it's not bad. It might have been PO, obviously, or Soulfire, but with the Doomguard in hand, you probably want to have something that you can actually play and buff the minions. Oh man, how much damage is
that's
it?
lethal. Oh man, Dog knows. He's putting a faith on the Emperor Thorson, but that is game.
So with Abusive Surgeon, it was enough.
Yeah, the Abusive Sergeant and the Doomguard sliding in is 1 or 2 points overkill, and Dog knows that he played. Pretty risky, but again, he's a victim to the draws that came to his hand, where he just had all of his high curve.
Lanshengzhe takes a convincing lead, 2-0 versus Dog. He just needs to win with the last deck. I'm not sure which one he has because I missed the bans.
Yep.
Possibly Druid? Maybe Druid or Secret Paladin.
No, he banned the Freeze Mage.
It's
Dog
Secret
didn't
Paladin.
bring Druid or Paladin. Oh, you're talking about what Dog banned?
I'm talking about
Dog banned the
Lanshengzhe.
Druid.
But Dog banned the Druid, so
Yeah.
Lanshengzhe has to win with Secret Paladin.
Yeah.
He has 3 chances to do so versus
Yeah.
Priest, Warlock, and Warrior.
Yeah. So this is kind of anticlimactic. I'm not going to try to color it and sell you guys a rock as a laptop or something, which actually did happen.
But this should actually be an okay matchup, because you are like Paladin versus Handlock was never the best. Handlock always had this edge with Jaraxxus, and even if you clear the board with equalities, which this deck doesn't have, you still have follow-up with other minions.
It's true. I still don't feel good about this matchup as the Warlock player. But, you know, I think starting off with Zombie Chow is okay, and he has Imp Gang Boss. Those are two of the cards you want, and Mortal Coil's great. Like, this is what he wanted versus Zoo.
Exactly.
And the Handlock deck is great at picking apart some early game stuff if it draws the right side. Now, granted, Lanshengzhe drew, like, pretty decently as well. But that's kind of the power of the lineup he did. Everything is very proactive. Zoo, the Secret Paladin, Druid, and Shaman. Like, so he's picking a lineup that forces the opponent to have the right answers. And Dog plays very control-heavy stuff.
I would have to say that Lanshengzhe means consistency in this way, because his decks are so consistent.
Yeah, I mean, he picks. I mean, if you look at the current ladder in China, this is probably the most average lineup you'll ever get in a Chinese tournament.
Is that bad, though?
These four. No, it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of like a clash of, like, this is what China likes versus what the West does.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people compare, like, are Western players better or worse than Eastern players? And a lot of people think the West is better. Maybe not necessarily because of the play, but because of the decks. And in this case, the Chinese meta may have an advantage over Dog-specific strategy. I'm not saying Dog represents the entire West, because he's not playing Druid or Paladin. He's playing everything except that.
he was tweeting that he brought subpar decks, and he's trying to go as far as possible in the tournament. So day one, when he saw what everybody's playing, he thought, oh man, I brought bad decks.
But he got to the top 4 with playing, in his opinion, bad decks.
He's an excellent player.
And he has gotten fortunate when it matters the most. The Imp Gang Boss here is pretty huge. Nothing out of the Paladin's camp on the board here can answer it outside of a True Silver Champion. And even then, that gives you more initiative to develop onto the board. I'm pretty sure you want to pop the egg. Pop the
Spider?
Creeper.
The Spider? I think you don't want to do it this turn yet. You still have Iron Begal. If the Spider survives, he'll be able to silence it. If there is a coin Keeper of Ulduar, you will have a great silence target. And if there is a Juggler, you are still fine because you have a 2/4 Imp Gang Boss.
Oh, I guess you're right about that then. Yeah, if he has Blessing of Kings, then you can save the Owl for that.
Yeah.
Makes the most sense. So and in that case, he doesn't lose like Zombie Chow to the Haunted Creeper. Okay, I can get behind that. Yep.
So
and
what do you do here? You have possibly 4 mana, but you probably want to keep the coin for something bigger. Maybe Lothab on turn 4.
What do you think about Keeper of Oldemon?
And killing the Zombie Chow?
It seems to be the best trade that you can get.
Yeah, that's pretty decent.
I mean, it was just a first glance play, but it still looks like to be the strongest overall that you can set because of the Imp Gang Boss. But now Imp Gang Boss, because of this Mortal Coil, will get some pretty insane value. I guess we play the Dark Peddler.
And search for another coil, possibly.
Another coil would be great.
You can still play Zombie Chow if you don't get anything great.
Yeah, maybe a taunt minion to protect your Imp Gang Boss.
Would you risk soul firing the 3/4?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't mind soul firing the 3/4. Although your hand is pretty good against Paladin, especially the Molten Shadow Flame. Maybe Gaijin Jouster is better. Maybe even just Corruption and just corrupt the 3/4. Why not? Like, it's just gonna die the following turn, right?
I think here you can still play Zombie Chow.
Well, sure, you can. It's all about perspective on what you want to do. On turn 4, your opponent wants to play Consecration.
Consecration is mostly unlikely on turn 4. Like, you shouldn't really play around Consecration when you play versus Secret Paladins. They run only 1. And if you happen to get hit by it, well, that happens. But most of the time, they don't have it. And Lanshengzhe will not mulligan for Consecration versus Demon Handlock.
Yeah, certainly not. I agree.
But Shredder is a really good pickup here. But then if you play Shredder, how do you trade?
The trades is just pretty much into Chow and the 1/1, and then you play Shredder. So that's okay. If you play the Muster for Battle, you can set up an Avenge.
You might consider killing Imp Gang Boss if there is a Defender of Argus coming. So you want to get rid of it, even though there is a small Imp coming.
Yeah, Argus does complicate the board a lot because of the buffs. And man, Imp Gang Boss got a lot of value.
It did, certainly.
Definitely one of the best cards to come out of a Warlock. Expansion for Warlock. Maybe one of the best outside of Mal'Ganis.
There is Shadow Flame. You don't have to use it though. Coil's a great.
Yeah.
great
And this
pickup.
is going to reveal the Avenge. And if it's a target that he can just snipe with a Dark Bomb.
Well, not
He doesn't
anymore,
have a
though.
demon for Void Caller, so placing it down is setting up himself to potentially get cornered.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you do tap.
Dark Bomb instead.
Dark Bomb, trade one of the minions into it. Zombie Chow into one of the 1/1s.
Slightly unfortunate that he can't get a clean kill on a 1/1 and then clear the board. However, still in an okay position for Dog.
Yeah, I think Dog is in an amazing position because the more time he takes, the more time he has to get the bigger cards, the mana he needs as well. Paladin didn't put him on a very low threshold of health. So right now they are going card for card, and Paladin is running out of cards slowly.
Slowly but surely. And another Void Caller can summon one of the other, but those are two very good draws for
Yeah.
Dog.
He
Now
doesn't,
Shadow Flame has even more power behind it.
at this moment, Dog doesn't even care which demon he gets. Getting a Void Caller or getting a Doomguard is so good for him. So Shieldbot for Lanshengzhe, he's slowly getting into the last turn, and then he will have a Tyrion.
Was that an Avenge number 2 or something else?
I
didn't
think
catch
that
it.
was an Avenge. Not sure though. I was looking at Dog because he has that owl and he hasn't used it yet, so that's a great answer to Tyrion, and he knows Tyrion is coming at some point, so he's keeping it for this. Corruption can be a good answer for something big as well. Like
It's true. However, the Silence and the Shadow Flame next turn also looks very desirable. Depending on how the Secret interacts. He still doesn't know what Secret it is. So he's going to attack. And if he goes for Shadow Flame play, it's a noble sacrifice, so it's not Avenge.
all right. Shadow Flame might still be good here.
Man, there's a lot of plays available. But Shadow Flame still looks the best. He has shown that he doesn't have Mysterious Challenger on 6. Therefore, you still have to be in the back of mind worried about like Dr. Boom following turns, but you want to still deal with the board as early as you can before another Mysterious Challenger gets drawn here.
And that's a really solid board, and you know you're getting Doomguard from that Void Caller as well.
Yes.
Consecration.
Not really what he was looking for. He'd rather just have like a big threat like Dr. Boom, but
That is some burst though for turn 9. So it is something.
a 4-mana 2 burst card, just Paladin things.
Well, I've seen Paladin winning many times because of Consecration. It's like, oh, I'm at 2. If he doesn't have Consecration, I can win.
Is that even a burst at that point? It's just it's just icing on the cake, you know, kind of like a little finisher.
If it
Just
wins,
the cherry on the top.
It is a good finisher. It seals the game if they are 2.
I guess so. But Lanshengzhe is probably just going to go for the load there. The Consecration on the Void Caller seems like you're getting your opponent closer to what he wants. And this is going to be an opportunity for Dog to potentially draw something pretty big here if he's able to get something nice. That is something nice. My goodness. Defender of
great.
Argus onto the Twilight Drake and forcing a confrontation. And it's just like you said. He's waited for so long for the Tyrion to come down, and the Silence is going to devastate him.
Yeah.
Dog's turning this game around.
And Tyrion is the best play still.
I mean, Paladin took too long to set up. And even the setup is worse. Like, his board is better. Dog's board is much better than Shanx's. So even when he plays Tyrion, that's going to get answered. And that's ultimately going to put Dog in a dominant position moving forward.
Lanshengzhe is still thinking about that consecration because if he attacks into the 5-7 with a 5-5 and the 1-1 into 4-3, he can consecrate this board, but Tyrion is amazing as a card. He hopes there is no silence.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he hopes there's no silence. And Dog, after the silence, has opportunity to clear the board. He can push the Void Caller into something, draw like probably the Tyrion, trade it in, and then Doomguard will come out, and he'll have complete initiative onto the board.
Yeah. So basically, silence, kill Tyrion with both 4-3 and a 2-3, get the Doomguard.
And now he just gave him an opportunity to hit face for 5 damage. So this is really good. Dog draws another demon, which is okay because you can just play that demon from the hand.
To guarantee a Doomguard.
He can do a lot over the next couple turns.
Lanshengzhe has to play equality. If he plays one equality in the deck...
Oh, okay. Plays Molten Giant so he can push the issue, and sure, he gets Doomguard as well. Everything is welcome here. And Dog is making a victory push to turn the series around in Game 3. Lanshengzhe has the consecration, but he can't deal with the Molten Giant.
All right, so it seems like Dog actually takes this game. That's why I think it's a good matchup overall. Even though he got low on health, he always is threatening. He's playing those threats. He has the early game as well. Now, even
his start was so good. He had Chow, Imp Gang Boss, Dark Bomb, Mortal Coil. Like, you can't really ask for anything else. And Paladin had a pretty decent hand as well.
Was lacking Mysterious Challenger.
Yeah, lacking Mysterious Challenger. Not really having like the super powerful ways to stabilize the board early on. And there it is, a Jirax's finisher from Dog to climb back ever so slightly in the series. He has to win 2 more games against the Secret Paladin, which is going to be tough, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, he's fighting back, absolutely. He still has his own Secret Paladin, I believe, and Patron. Patron is a good matchup versus Secret Paladin, and then Secret is just a mirror match, so anything can happen. Or anything cannot happen, but everything can happen.
Yes.
I don't even know how would I follow up to that.
Yes. Game number 4 is about to start here. I think Patron is his best shot, although realistically it doesn't truly matter. He can play Priest or Patron. He has to win with both. And remember, it's single elimination. The winner of this goes to face Cypher in the grand finals of the StarLadder series. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you grab your friends and tell them to watch this as well to see who is going to win $20,000 and call themselves a season champion.
Who is going to lose here, cry, and get 5,000. Do not be sad.
You think one of them will cry? I might cry if it was me.
Well, everybody wants to be the champion, right?
I'm a delicate flower, Nimsh. I get emotional sometimes. Although not during movies. Those are just the ninjas with onions.
You get emotional during games when you watch them? Emotional during games when you watch them?
Sometimes.
A bit,
I did get emotional when I see some people win esport games. It does sometimes get a little bit teary, but I don't think now is the time to cry. This is the time to just pony up and play your best here.
Cheer for your player.
Yeah. Lanshengzhe is going to start with the Knife Juggler as the first card, but if he does, he's going to get punished by a Power Word Shield. But the good thing is that Dog would then get the minion killed by the Mustafa battle.
By the way, I absolutely messed up the matchups. I forgot he has a Priest instead of Secret Paladin. So, Dragon Priest versus Secret Paladin. I think it still favors the Paladin a bit, but it's much closer.
It depends. I would say this matchup is slightly Priest favored, maybe at 55. Just because you have access to a lot of good AoE. Dog is playing... Oh, man, he missed turn 3. But Dog is playing the 2 Light Bomb version, and that gives you a lot of access to AoEs with the Holy Novas, the Light Bombs, and even has, like, Harrison Jones. So if you had to, like, Death, Harrison, Tyrion, he's in a pretty fine spot.
Yeah, it's a really good counter, but the Paladin is so consistent with the aggression, and if you miss any turn...
Well, how about missing 2 turns?
Oh, man.
Oh.
That's so terrible
But
for Dog.
This is what Dragon Priest can struggle with. I mean, this is what any deck would struggle with if you're in mid-range. You can just draw a little bit awkwardly. And what really stings is that Dog will eventually draw the cards he wanted to start with. He's going to eventually pick up Zombie Chow and drag the Twilight Drake. Not the Twilight Drake.
It's not terrible yet, Frodo.
Twilight Whelp, excuse me.
He has the Holy Nova to kill almost everything.
Yeah.
And then he has Cabal Shadow Priest as a follow-up as well.
Sean's is taking it really slow, too. He's like, all right, well, clearly you have some cards, and I'm not going to overextend it to the board.
Clearly you have a lot of cards that are not 3 or 4 mana.
Yeah. And with this, you know, he knows that it's time to play Mysterious Challenger, so he's going to be very cautious. Boom. And I think Dog might just Cabal Shadow Priest and steal the 2/2 here. And just let the Mysterious Challenger get the buff completely of Competitive Spirit by itself. And
7 damage to face.
Yep.
8 with that.
That should prompt Shangza to go for a Cog Hammer play.
Let me change your mind.
And get the really good Divine Shield trade. Or is he going to even trade? I think he might be too greedy to not trade.
He can kill the 2/2, and that will be good because then Noble Sacrifice will stop the 4/5. So that's something you can do. You can go with the Knife Juggler into... Yeah, the big question is, what do you really want to Divine Shield taunt? Maybe you want to Divine Shield Juggler?
By the way, Dog picked up Light Bomb, which is a huge card in this matchup, especially if it was the infamous Boom into Mysterious Challenger into Boom into Tyrion combination. You can halt the big train with a Light Bomb. Just take some damage from Boom Bots. And a lot of times your cards end up surviving the Light Bomb damage because as the Dragon Priest, you excel in building the health of your minions over the attack. So Twilight Guardian, for example, is a 3/6. If you even use a Valence Chosen, it becomes like an Ancient of War 5/10.
Yeah, it's a great combat card. I'm just looking at the Juggler. I'm thinking maybe you could keep the Juggler in your hand as a damage dealer with the Master for Battle as well.
Interesting.
So just go for the Spider and Hero Power instead.
I mean, that's surprisingly very effective against the Blackwing Corruptor. But he chooses to Divine Shield after, so he doesn't preserve the health.
He's playing around Light Bomb. Like Light
Yeah,
Bomb,
I guess.
Light Bomb doesn't kill the Mysterious Challenger here. And Corruptor doesn't kill as well.
Maybe you Harrison then, just to draw cards and see what's going to happen afterwards. I wouldn't mind more cards. You're not going to die next turn.
If you Shadow Ward Death, then it just comes back for redemption. That's
I think
really
you
bad.
really want to get closer to a way to stabilize the board, though, and you can't do much. So it might be the Harrison.
Harrison and heal yourself.
Maybe into the 1-drops.
Yeah,
You just need as much board as you can to fight back.
Well, especially
Tough spot for sure. I mean, he's going to Blackwing Corruptor. Wow. So he's just saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to fight back for board with the 1-drops immediately. But you have to kind of ask yourself, what is he saving Harrison for? He's saving Harrison for the death next turn, the combination?
Well, this at least gives him a chance to not lose a minion to Challenger for free. If you just play Harrison, he draws some cards, but he has most of the cards he needs anyway.
Okay, that's also a good point. And he does have the Death Harrison for the Tyrion next turn, which is what Shangza is probably gravitating towards. By the way, he runs an equality in this
so he
deck.
had that equality, so he could have actually won last game versus the Demon Lock.
His deck is very favored, I think, against Handlock if he's running an equality. Here we go. Put your faith in the light. Tyrion Fordering, the most powerful legendary in terms of individual value. However, Dog has a great response to it.
He has Harrison Jones, he has Shadow Ward Death, but he doesn't have mana to do everything. Because he wants to Light Bomb this turn, I guess. Or does he?
Wait, doesn't he want to Death to Tyrion and then Harrison?
Death, Tyrion, Harrison, isn't he just dead after this?
Well, he attacks first, and then if the Avenge lands on the 7/3 or the Tyrion, then he can Death it.
Oh, maybe actually Avenge can land the turn, yeah.
Okay, so I'm a little bit surprised he attacked with the Corruptor, because if it lands on the Challenger, he wants to attack into that.
Whoops.
Oh, man. He's just going to Light Bomb then instead. Okay, this makes sense. So Light Bomb to try and destroy the entire board and stay alive. That's also fine. But then he's going to take damage from the
Spider and the
the Ashbringer. That's what
Yes,
it's called.
there's 6 damage incoming.
He's going to have to heal himself. He's just going to Harrison the following turn.
But there is the Juggler and Master for Battle. And the Spider can attack into the Cleric.
Is that a possible lethal?
How much damage is that? So you attack first, one of the knives hits face, so it's 10. He needs
You
5
give
more.
up your Ashbringer to go for the lethal? Why not, right?
I think it's 1-off.
One-off lethal?
Yeah, unless Cleric never dies.
Well, the Cleric, you would trade the Haunted Creepers and they go for it, right?
Yeah, but if you hit one of the knives into Cleric, you have 1 knife to face, so you need to deal 5 more. So you play Juggler. Obviously, you play Juggler first,
Yeah.
right? And then you have to play 5 minions. You have 3 and 1 from Hero Power. So it's basically 1-off, which is still amazing because you're at 22.
Yeah. Dog is still looking for some kind of taunt giver for his tournament life. If not, he's just going to die the following turn.
Even though
Sacred
he has
Paladin
Saracen.
pressing in the thumb here, and he needs to pick up a Twilight Guardian or something next turn.
Wormer's Agent. There is a Guardian.
Oh, no. Holy Nova's too late.
There's equality.
Yeah, equality means that that's it, right? Because a noble sacrifice.
And Master for Battle is enough.
Can he kill off the Shredder and do anything? I don't think so. The quality is going to blow Dog away. I don't think he's anticipating it. I don't feel like we've even seen it until this point.
We haven't. This is the first time.
And somehow he has the equality right here. So looks like Shanza has gone through the Dragon Priest yet again, and he is going to be going to the Grand Finals.
We see that well played. And Dog falls down. Lanshengzhe is going to face Cypher.
All right, he's gonna end the game in fireworks with a muster for battle. Completely unnecessary, but totally awesome.
Yeah, that's great. It's not even PM.
It's the story of the underdogs, Nimsh. Lanshengzhe is going to the Grand Finals to face Cypher, as we have 2 dark horses getting all the way to the Grand Finale.
I'm so excited for the final. It's going to be great. But this match was amazing itself. Dog played really well. Lanshengzhe played amazingly. And the matchups, man, the matchups. That equality versus Dog's Demon Lock might have sealed it. Big ovation. He's so friendly. He's a great guy. I want to talk to him more.
We haven't had a Chinese player perform very well in Western tournaments outside of DreamHack Summer, which Dog ended up getting second at to Tiddler Celestial. So this is a very important tournament for Lanshengzhe because, you know, realistically, again, he's not a very popular player in China. He's a player who, it's not for the wrong reasons. It's not like he did something wrong. It's just that not a lot of people pay attention to him because he's not a famous streamer. He's not necessarily a player who's getting a lot of attention for, like, you know, Tiddler, for example, who starts his own team and wins tournaments. But he's a guy who's played for a long time who just does it by the book. You know, he's a player who plays a lot of the normal meta decks, but he spends a lot of time just grinding and trying really hard. So yet another player who has tried his best to accomplish everything he can, and finally getting his hard work paying off.
He's also in his 30s. So now for a guy who's in 30s, you really want to compete versus those young players. And
young players. Is 30 really that old, Nimsh, to you?
Well, Froden, I can tell you some stories. Back in the day, we used to play physical cards, you know? There was no computers.
Physical cards! That's for silly people back in the 1800s, right, Nimsh? Something like that. All right, well, guys, we've had a lot of fun. You know, thanks so much for everybody tuning in. It's getting pretty late here. It's like 10, 11 p.m., but we're going on strong. Coming up next, we have the Grand Finals between Cypher and Lanshengzhe. When we come back, more Hearthstone action here from Minsk, Belarus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.